Hello from the beautiful Seychelles. I've arrived here already yesterday, and after 24 hours of travel I wasn't really in the mood to film much, so I'm doing the intro today. In the next days I want to photograph the island of Digue, which is where I'm now. I want to record a few videos, show you the island, also do a few tutorials on seascape photography. And yeah, currently the weather isn't so nice, so it's very cloudy. We had thunderstorms yesterday evening, and yeah, I'm hoping it will improve the next few days. But anyways, it's such a beautiful island and I should be able to find something to photograph, and what I need to do now is head out and explore and do some scouting. Hopefully I find something which I can photograph tomorrow morning or the days after, and I'll certainly bring you and yeah, show you what I got there. So, the scouting was rewarded. I found the first composition which is worth shooting. So this rock down here, which you can see standing out nicely from the background and surrounded by all this red rock, will make a very nice photo, especially with the blue water behind it. So I'm thinking of a long time exposure in the morning maybe. So that's the first find of today, and I'll certainly come back here sometime for sunrise. So the sun's gonna be up in this direction, and yeah, I'm not sure. The forecast for the next days is mostly clouded, but even if I don't get nice light, having a blue sky, blue water, and then this red rock, this will make for a nice color contrast. And yeah, I'll certainly come back here and I'll bring you, and then we'll see what we can make out of this. Good morning from Digue again. So I've come back to this rock which I scouted yesterday, and yeah, I've already photographed it during blue hour, which is what I thought would look nice. So with the blue sky of blue hour and the blue water behind this red rock, and yeah, I couldn't film that early, so it was quite dark an hour ago, and yeah, with the GoPro it was just impossible to film. So I'm now talking about the composition in retrospect, so to say. Yeah, what was important for me was to have this rock kind to the left at 1/3, and then having a little bit of separation between the rock and the islands in the background. Not sure if you see it, but you'll see in the final photo. So I didn't want it to cut the horizon, so I came a little bit more back here to an elevated position where I positioned my camera. Then another thing which you might see in the little time lapse I did, while I was taking the photo, I had those palm leaves leaning into the frame. And while I could clone them out, what I did, I set the timer to 10 seconds and then went to those leaves and just pushed them out a bit. So just bending them. And after the exposure, it just fell back into the frame. So this is quite nice. You don't need to break anything, or I never do, but sometimes bending some grasses or some leaves will already help here. So the next thing, to focus in the dark, I use this Thrunite flashlight here, which is very bright. So with it, on the brightest setting, I think I can focus to anything within a radius of 20 meters. So I just put it, pointing it on this rock, and then used live view on my Canon to focus, and this was quite easy. Also, I used this to lighten up the foreground while looking at the live view again to fine-tune the composition in the dark. So the workflow is usually to first get a rough estimate and level the camera, and then I can use live view and the flashlight to fine-tune the composition to make sure there are no distracting elements at the edges. And yeah, this is what I did, and afterwards I took a few long exposures. So as usual, first using a high ISO shot to get an idea of how the scene looked, also to calculate the time for the shorter exposures. For example, I was using ISO 800 at 30 seconds first, which gave me a rough estimate, and then I went with 4 minutes at ISO 100 for the first long time exposure. So I waited a little longer, and unfortunately the sun didn't break through the clouds, so I think I have to settle for the blue hour shot. But maybe I'll come back the next days and yeah, give it another try. But yeah, now I'm on my way back to the hotel, and yeah, I have to get some breakfast. So see you next time.